Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Roll call, please.
Kim Collier.
Here.
Norm Carbuck.
Here. Yes, I'm here. You were emailed a copy of the minutes from the October 18th meeting. Did you have a chance to look at the minutes?
I will make a motion to approve them as emailed.
Second that.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Bill Slike. We have a sewer project update first, so Bill can get out of here. Take your time.
I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
I started putting notes away, so I'm ready to go, and I don't know where I put them. Okay. Update. We have, in the next 2 weeks, tomorrow, I think it was tomorrow through Friday, we estimated Jackson Street. They'll be working on that with the relief sewer.
Will be closed again.
They'll be closed again.
But
they've given some notice to the school already today.
Dan, isn't he really kind of hoping for it to be more like a day and a half to 2 days at the most?
What's that?
Jackson Street.
He said Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday.
They may, they can go, they're only 15 feet deep now, so.
Yeah, it should go pretty quick.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Bill.
They're going to drive over them like the Dukes of Hazzard. Okay. And then next week they will be looking at starting the work on Monroe. They'll be getting into that towards the end of the week, I believe it was. And they have the notice to go to the school as well, because then the no turns on First Street right here off of Monroe. And First Street will be closed again for a while.
Is Jackson going to be closed at the go-to school time tomorrow morning?
You know what, we don't know that. I'm going to call Greg, because I didn't have an answer for Brent yet. We don't know. He just said Wednesday and Thursday.
Would you call him? Yeah, I mean, if it's after the kids go to school, then if it's going to be right away, then Greg, I'd like you to have...
Well, I just talked to Greg. I just left a message for Mark to check it.
Okay. All right.
7:20. I'll see if Greg has...
Okay.
Yeah, they just had another question there or something else too. But they've given the school a heads up on the First Street as well. And that will be about a week, I think they said, till they get through with all the putting it. This is now they'll put in the structure. The other time they did the boring and put the pipe in, coming across. And this time they'll actually be working right here on the corner to get that new doghouse structure.
That's that great big puppy sitting over there, yeah.
Yep. So the old brick manhole will come out. They'll put the new structure right over top, reroute the pipes and reroute flows into the.
And that's right in the intersection, right?
Right on the corner.
Yeah, right on the corner.
And it's not in sidewalks. So there'll probably be a little bit of sidewalk. I think there's a little bit of the sidewalk repaired, but the structure itself is basically in the street, taking out it's taking the through lane out. So what they're doing is they're shifting traffic into the turn lane to go through, and then there's no turns right now. That's why there's no turns.
Yep.
Because the through traffic is taking up those lanes. They anticipate 2 to 3 weeks. We should be at what you would call substantial completion, where right now the interceptor is, to my understanding, installed and flowing.
Right.
The new interceptor is completely connected. And the relief sewer should be at that same point in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So at that point they have some cleanup to do of pavement. They'll try to get winter surfaces, some surface courses on the asphalt on the main roads, and I think they have to do it for NDOT. Get new surface courses down on all that, and the striping and stuff before the winter. And then the plan is that we had discussed previously at previous meetings, was they'll go on sort of a winter hiatus and come back and do the final dress up of grasses and touch-ups of any asphalt that's needed and such in the spring. So we'll need to do a change directive for that. And right now there are 3 unforeseen items that have come up. I need to finish verifying them. I don't really have a lot of detail on them at this point. The cost changes are extremely minor. All things that were essentially necessary for unforeseen conditions, pipes that weren't identified or weren't known about, stuff like that, pipes and structures that we've had to work around.
Did you find out, Dan?
He's going to have the guys wait until like 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
Because of the late notice, he said he'll have him wait till 8.
Okay.
So.
Yep. You can tell Greg that.
I won't be at the next meeting, so
Right. You told me that.
I'll be on vacation that day. So I will be back. I will try to have the change orders documented and all that, so you can present them for authorization.
Okay.
It's all work that's pretty much completed.
Did you say you're going to come up here on the 22nd, though?
I'll be up on the 22nd for the next progress meeting, and my thought was I'd come back and do a wrap-up, take care of any loose ends, probably the first meeting in December then.
Okay. Cool.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Bill, where are we on the contingency fund and the budget? I mean, we're pretty running...
We are still waiting on the biggest contingency items and unknowns that we have right now are the 2 RFPs that are sitting out there that Greg is still working on. He expects to have those back in the next 2 weeks for us to review as well, which was the extension of the sewer down to the siphon on the north end and the downstream end, and then
That was required because
that
of
was
the
required,
survey
right.
issue?
We needed to do that because the depths weren't sufficient where we were. That made it possible to actually finish the whole thing without getting into a whole lot more work. And then we had the deduct. We've already covered the change for removing the Loshi building from that property, but there's cost changes involved with the rerouting of, instead of doing that section behind there as a jack and bore, which had significant cost because of putting in the extra casing pipe, they were able to open cut that. We don't have those 2 sets of costs back yet. Generally, I think that was a slight deduct from where we were. I can't remember off the top of my head. So far, we've added the water main pipe that was split cost with the water utility, if I remember right, and we added, I cannot remember what change order 1 was. Oh, the Loshi property. One of them was the water main, and one of them was the Loshi property demolition, which those were all already approved. And I think net we had a maybe $50,000 ad or something estimated.
There's the change order for the over at the granary where how they're gonna, I don't know if it's even a change order, how they're gonna finish off the...
Was there a valve, water valve?
There was a water valve, that was $1,000. That was approved last time, which I got to finish the paperwork on. And
But they're running very smoothly. It's in budget, and the contingency is more than sufficient to cover anything.
Yes, we're still well under the anticipated engineer's budget where we started, even with the other changes. And the few that are here, they're very minor compared to the others. They're like 1,800. 2 of them are like 1,800. One's like $4,500 or less.
So budget-wise, we're in good shape.
Budget-wise, we're in good shape. Timeline, we had that slight delay at the start, but everything they've done very well. The inspector's pleased. Everybody else involved that has been out on the site has had nothing but good reports. The tests all passed, so it's all gone very smoothly, very quickly, and they've done what they can to work with the city, like with the parade, and happy all the way around is what we want. It should be a team effort, in my opinion, and that's what we thought.
It has been.
Bill, are they omitting a little odor today?
I didn't notice, but they might have been. If they're working on the relief sewer and such, there might be a bit more of an odor, but
I
Yeah,
think
we're-
that's something else. I
and
think
maybe
people are
something,
fertilizing
I don't
now.
Well,
Yeah.
It's pretty breezy today.
I said something to Koshaw, and he said that they shouldn't be doing that until the ground is frozen, so.
Some farmers said that that's what that is.
Well, I noticed it out at the golf course this morning early, and I was down at the police station. Somebody spread hog or cow manure or one of
wouldn't
them.
notice unless you're right there.
Chicken, we'll blame it on the fertilizer.
All right.
We opened our doors and then shut them.
Anything else for Bill?
Bad. No, I don't. I hate to put you on the spot there.
Odors come and go. Sometimes I don't notice with treatment unless I'm standing at a treatment plant. So you just kind of learn to absorb it.
All right. Thanks for the report. Careful going home. Good luck on the 15th. See you on the 22nd.
See you on the 22nd.
Yeah. Thank you. Next thing I want to discuss, Greg, you want to come up? We have, I think, completed the background checks on the crop of candidates.
We just finished those off today.
Yep. However, as I think everyone knows, and did you all see the email I sent you today about Austin? Yeah. As Greg and Mike, they came and met with me, they said, hey, we can go through all the candidates, we can test them physically, agility-wise, and do all that, but there's one candidate that we pretty much feel is already going to rise to the top of the list, and that's this Austin Gross. He already is a Adams County Deputy Sheriff, has been for a year and a half, and I asked him if it's something where we really had to do the Board of Works interview, and I guess we really don't necessarily have to, so I asked Greg to have him come in yesterday, and I interviewed him, asked him the same basic kind of questions that we did. I went over that with Bill today. Bill was in my office, and I thought he interviewed great. A very personable young man. He's 26 years old, not that that matters. Engaged, and what I would like to do, with Julie being gone and Chris being off work right now, and Teddy is going to be leaving for the academy next week.
Monday.
That puts us 3 down. So I would like to get the process going so that Greg can make Austin an offer, and then get the process going. And I don't know, how long would it take, Greg?
Well, I don't know. We're dependent upon Perf and medical down there at Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Because he has not been in Perf before, he'll have. I don't know what it's going to be yet as far as the physical. It should be just a short one.
Yeah.
But Perf, again, they're going to have to approve what they send, so Perf will be our holdup, is what it is. So probably, hopefully within the month.
How is he not in Perth? The county guys aren't in Perth?
They have a
different retirement.
Yep.
I think, and we've talked about this before, but my personal feeling is that, it really, we're more of confirming. It's the chief and the deputy chief who bring forward and say, hey, here's our person.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that we would be hiring just based on an interview alone, I think is flawed to begin with. So if that's where it's leading and they're comfortable and they're standing up and saying this is who we want, then yeah, that's a confirming. If you've already had that conversation.
I appreciate that statement. And it's not that I want to leave you guys out of the process whatsoever, but I see nothing wrong with the interview process as far as that goes. But again, we're the ones who are going to be having to. I'm the one that's going to be responsible. Although
you've already vetted them. You've already talked to them. You've already interviewed them yourselves.
Yeah.
So we need to take your recommendation.
Well, I appreciate that. So again,
His father's Chris Gross. It would be Joan Gross's grandson.
yes.
And that's about all I know, as far as his family.
26-year-old grandson.
So I know him personally, nice, very nice young guy.
You're welcome to look over this application if you'd like.
No, I don't think that's necessary, Greg. Like I said, if I can get the board to make a motion to go along with my recommendation, then I would like you to get the process going for him.
You got a...
I got a motion
Yeah, so moved.
I'll make a second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Go ahead and start the process with him, and then expedite the next part of the rest of the group.
That will be another conversation I'll probably have with you, because
Okay.
that'll be something completely different than we've done before too, but it's
Yep.
preliminary.
Which really, I mean, that's kind of like the hiring that we did with Les. That's for now, it's
Yes.
at least one person that will start first of the year.
Yes.
However, like Bill shared with me today when we were talking, the one young man that I think might be at the academy,
He is now out.
he's out of the academy, and, if that's the kind of thing that he would still be working there for the rest of the year, and so it might be another good one for us to look at.
But it might be also, again, because this is a lateral that, I believe he's already a member of PERF, and I don't know if we go that route, whether it's going to be a short transition if we would hire him. And so, I don't know if we could approve that yet this year for next year, so that we could make that kind
Okay.
of... but that's-
Well, let's see how the rest of them pan out too, though, and
I think that's something, Greg, that anytime we need a police officer, I would like to see us go with lateral to begin with, kind of like Fort Wayne does. They hired 23 new police officers, but they hired 8 laterals. I mean, if we need a police officer, I'd like to see us go for a lateral movement
We've always been in
to
this...
start out. I mean, no, advertise it that way.
Oh,
You know,
I never understood that, because any officer that would want to can apply anyway, but unless it just gives them that much more incentive.
well, I think some of them don't want to go through all the whole process. They'd rather just, show their,
Know right up front what they're going to be...
exactly, show what they've got to offer, and, that way we don't have to go through the whole process, or you guys don't. So, that's just a suggestion, that's all.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you so much, I appreciate
Yep,
it.
thanks, Greg. Next thing on my agenda is the depot again. After the last meeting, I did have a meeting with Mary, and we discussed, but Mary, I gotta be honest with you, since then, we've had someone come and offer us to clean it for $15, so...
Well, I think I think we need to put to bed this whole
Park and rec thing.
Rec and rec.
Yeah, I wish Jeremy was here right now, but he's not.
And Bill, I had shared this with the mayor before, but I feel like there's been a lot of stipulations or whatever put on it, and I'm not sure what they're actually doing for us. Aside from, they'd be managing the contract, right?
That's
And
it.
managing
That's
the
all
key.
we want them to do,
But that,
and pass out the key.
and pass out the key. But there doesn't seem to be a willingness to do that without changing what we've already decided on.
Yeah, they were apprehensive about us running it for $25 an hour when they currently rent the Riverside rooms for $32 an hour, and they...
Well, see, my opinion on that is, they're two different entities. You've got a historical site that what we came up with as far as offering it for rent. We're offering it with some alcohol involved. We're just looking at, we're looking at two different, you can't compare the two because they're totally different, in my opinion. And whatever we come up with at the depot, I think we
It's our
need
business and not theirs.
Exactly, and I think we need a little initiative to get the whole thing rolling. We don't,
I got a reply from the email I'd sent you guys from Sandy, Cam's mother, And she said that, you know, the $25 fee, they wanted that to try to promote it. and get it
Exactly.
used, and that if necessary at a later date, we could raise it, you know, so, but for now, they would prefer seeing us keep it that, you know, the lower fee.
I would too, because I don't think we're in competition with Riverside, myself.
So, I mean, if it's a matter of managing the reservations and having people sign contracts and passing out a key, is there any reason that we can't do that here?
Nope, there's no reason whatsoever that we can't do that here.
Because
Phyllis has offered it.
Because we're going to be collecting the money anyway, right? I mean, that's where,
Well,
they could, but it ought to happen here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, originally we thought it was just easier because the Parks Department does this already, but we had to come up with our own contract anyway.
Yeah, when it went to the park board, they got real apprehensive because they were feeling that someone's going to have to go there to open it. Someone's going to have to come back to close it, which that wasn't intended, but it did say that in the agreement. It does say it that way in the agreement. And they said, geez, if we're going to do that, then I suppose it's going to be a park board person that has to go there to open it and close it. And now you're tying that person up on a weekend. If someone rents it for 4 hours, well, that's 6 hours. That person has to be available. And I said, well, I don't think that's what we're intending. I really think that the key should be given to the leasee and let them unlock it, lock it when they're done, turn the key back in.
Which is why we're charging a deposit.
Right. Now, in the email that your mother sent, she said that the doors are very tricky to unlock.
Okay, but,
It only takes one special person.
and I'll say it again, if they're willing to do that and show up...
You mean the Pensy girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're willing to show up early and manage that and oversee that until they get a point of feeling comfortable,
Here's the way Susan,
then why not?
what Susie said in that, and she was, I would also be able to show the building to prospective renters or open and close the building on weekends when the city workers are not available. Well, I'm not going to make the city workers available for that. I'm not going to pay city workers to do that, so.
I understand the desire, but I think there's a logistical and rational reality that, yeah, that can't happen.
Mhm.
So,
What is there, 4, 6 doors? If one of those doors surely can be opened easy enough, and we can just...
the main door actually is a little hard. I mean, I will admit
Right.
that. I will admit that. But,
Well, can we get Bob down there to see if he can make improvements?
yeah, I don't know what...
I mean, you know, I'm just making a suggestion if we're going to manage it or whatever, so.
I just say that if Susie really wants to do that,
If she wants to, fine. If not, the person's going to get the key and they can turn it in when they're done. Okay, so the consensus of the board is that at our last meeting, we've made a decision, and we're going to stick with that decision. And then what about the cleaning? Are you good with the $15?
well, I guess my question is what are we, or is this like after every single time it's rented? Or
Yeah,
is this like a once weekly thing? Because the contract requires that they clean up after themselves. I mean, they have to wipe down the kitchen and all that type of stuff. Now, how do you enforce that?
Let me read you what Susie said. I'd be willing to clean the Pensy Depot after each event for the sum of $15. I would also have a backup cleaner in the event I would not be available. To date, my backup would be my sister Sandy.
Yeah, exactly.
In addition to knowing what needs to be done already, we would have the advantage of knowing how the original look should be.
Well, can't we go with a trial run? I mean,
Sounds good, but I just don't know how long it's going to last.
well, that's what I mean. And then at that point, when it's not working out,
sick of it.
change the whole process over again? I mean, or do something with it to maintain the flow?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say there's 3 events in one weekend. Do we really need it? Does it need to be cleaned in between?
How many people would use the restroom at 3 events in which Do you want it cleaned if you're the third event?
Well, I'm not saying I wouldn't, but
That's basically what you're, it's gonna be that little kitchen area and the restroom.
Ready to use when you
15
rent
bucks
it,
is
it's
cheap.
not- I wouldn't want to have to wipe things.
I thought
down
25 was
to
cheap.
Start in, maybe when I left, you clean up, but it would be good enough probably for somebody new to come in. For another event. Aren't they supposed to be clean?
they're supposed to be cleaning it. I mean, if
They're not gonna clean
They're not gonna
toilets,
clean
they're
the
not gonna,
restroom.
yeah, they're gonna clean things up,
up the
sweep
trash.
stuff up, put
Right.
chairs away, whatever,
But
and
let's
that's
just think
about
about
it.
this. If we're charging 25 per, well, I guess it's per hour. But if they rent it for 2 hours, right, which is the minimum, they pay 50 and we're paying 15, so the net is $35.
That's all we're making, yeah.
Is that? I mean, I guess we're not doing this to make money on it.
No,
Period. So, all right,
it's a service.
okay. I'm okay with it.
Time too, and then if you're not maintaining a facility as far as being clean, then you get comments back that, hey, we would rent this, but
It's dirty.
it's dirty or it's not as clean as it should be, then by gosh, you go after that point. You attack that point to make it more rentable.
I think you're right though too, and this is kind of the trial. Like, okay, so 6 months down the road, is this
Yep.
really what is needed? Does it need to be cleaned every time? And
Exactly.
And why couldn't we put something on the little checklist, like which door to enter through and whatever, and put on there, clean the restroom when you're done too. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
check off list for the leasee, that is, of what
Right.
needs done, in addition to putting the chairs back, and so.
I was there today, and I think one of the first things we need to do, and I hate to be redundant, but you need to get the parking situated.
I've talked with Jeremy, he's going
Because,
to get a sign ordered, he's going to get the marks,
I think that's very important to me.
Yeah, it is
as
me
far
too.
as if I was going to rent it, and there was only 4 parking places,
yeah.
I would be somewhat, unless I'm too handicapped, so then you invite handicapped people, so you got 6 parking places, so.
Okay, well then for now, I'm going to go ahead and...
What do you think? Do you want to just get that striped?
Yeah.
I'd like to see us come in at the north with a narrow, and on the curve.
Jeremy's gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. I mean, but I'm saying that we need to do that.
On the arch, put parking on one
right.
side of the arch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then put a white line going over the police station and make sure that people don't drift over into the police area.
Okay, question I have.
Yeah.
If I recall, the lease was set up for the park department to do it on behalf of the city, so we're changing that, and it's not going to be done at City Hall. Is Phyllis and/or Wendy authorized them to sign contracts? Are they the ones that are to manage it, or?
How we're doing it right now, so far Melissa's been taking them, she brings them to me, I take them to Ken to sign, and then I deposit the check.
Okay, so Ken signs it on behalf of the city? Okay.
If that's how you want it done, I mean, that's how we've been doing it, so.
And is that what you guys are saying then also?
Well, there again, that's a trial situation also.
But we're going to do it at City Hall, not the Riverside Center.
I would. I mean, if
I wish Jeremy was here. He's here to defend his people, but that's what it is.
Well, but I mean, I don't know what he's, because what are they getting out of it? Nothing.
No.
So,
They're mowing the grass.
yeah, they're already doing that, right?
Oh, they're liable to buck about it now.
So, I guess we'll have to coordinate, because I think Ryan has a list of,
People that are interested, yeah. I'll talk to Jeremy tomorrow, and I'm sure Larry Ash will be in my office.
I think we already have 4 rentals so far.
do you see, why do you feel that they would be pushback?
I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't believe there was the first time, but there was, you know, like I said, that we had to have a meeting and...
I guess I feel like they would be happy to.
Yeah, it's out of their hands.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get somebody that comes in there and says, I'd like to request the Pennsy station, just forward them to the
Forward to the city hall.
I'm good with it.
The hours are the same, aren't they?
Pardon?
The hours are the same at Riverside and City Hall, aren't they?
I don't even know what Riverside's hours are. Sometimes they're open evenings.
They're open every evening.
Yeah. Are they?
I mean, we'd still appreciate if they would forward any information on this.
Okay. Done. Where is Jeremy? Next thing I wanted to talk about was Master Drive. Looks like you're the man.
Bring it.
You got paperwork.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not gonna talk about
You want to text him or something or other?
You want to just stand up and talk for a little bit, Dan?
What, Phyllis?
Trying just to approve the holiday.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to have holidays next year.
Yeah.
This is
We
the
got
Board of
about
Works thing?
56 minutes, Dan. We're going to do a filibuster.
We prepared the holiday schedule for next year. Christmas and New Year's. Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday this year, and then Monday is Christmas Day. So I think we
Next year.
put it for Friday and Monday, the holidays.
Yes. And New Year's
And then
Eve,
New Year's,
they'll get
will be
Friday,
the same.
December 27th,
so
29th.
we did Friday, Monday, if that's okay with the Board of Works before we pass it on to all the employees. That's the schedule.
If it's snowing, they're going to remove the snow anyway, aren't they?
Instead of
Right.
doing Monday, Tuesday, we just did Friday, Sunday. Is that all right?
Friday.
We got about 40 more days.
Right.
Friday's work, Sunday.
30.
Right.
Okay, so
And then
I was
right,
pretty bummed out the other
22nd,
day when it was
25th.
so cold.
Right.
Thursday or Friday.
instead of those 2 days, because then we already got this off, it'll be too short of a week, we thought.
Okay. You need a motion for that?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed, the same?
He's on the way, he said it'll be about 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
He didn't know when you wanted him here.
Unless isn't here. I have two things here left on the board.
You want me to give an overview of what's going on? And then he-
Yeah, go ahead. Well, first of all,
I can bring something up if you want.
Okay, yeah, let's have Delco.
I mean, really.
Let's talk code enforcement.
Well, of the 4 properties that we issued citations, or I should say Tim sent additional letters to, 2 of them complied right away, and the third out on Selkirk, I went out there last week, and they have gotten rid of their trailer like he said he would do. And all the recyclables are no longer next to the shed. He still has a broken down basketball goal sitting there, which
You say it was saving, right?
yeah. And his stacking his wood is leaves a little bit to be desired, but he's actually complied there. And the only other property, and I was there today and had Mr. McCullough call me back, Jim is still of those tops of semis, those fiberglass units. He's gotten rid of 2 of them. One's chopped up in his front yard, but I don't know who's going to pick that up, but I think he's going to get rid of that. The other 2 are still sitting there. He is, his snowmobile is still there. He's got 4 or 5 propane tanks sitting there. He's got buckets, 5-gallon buckets that are thrown around. I told him when he called, I wasn't necessarily happy with what he's done, but he has been working on it. And Brad Stoltz, our police officer that's been working with me on that property, indicated that possibly we as a city could go in there and clean it up additionally. And I told Brad that that'd probably take a little court order or whatever. So I told Mr. McCullough that I would work with him, that he needs to clean up more, and him and I are going to meet at noon on Friday, and I'll kind of tell him what I want. I told him I'd rather see his cooperation than getting in any type of litigation or, you know, as a city to force him, and he's accepting that. So we're pretty good on those. I mean, making improvements, I guess. And I appreciate council for giving me a little bit more muscle when it goes into cleaning places up, because the people are responding, and it's just not...
Place off of Angus.
Angus Drive is out there today, at Meadow Lane. The guy had 2 vehicles sitting in there in the weeds, and one was plated, the other wasn't. He has got me one plated and moved them both out into the street, cleaned all the weeds there around that area, and then moved the one back into that area. He still needs it needs a lot more work. So I think he's going to be one like you're sending Christmas cards to every year. Next year, I think, I mean, we're getting into the winter months, so I think next year we may just put him on the top of our list in the spring and have Tim send him a letter and say we're kind of tired of doing this. You either have to go with it, or, you know, that's my opinion on Meadow Lane. He still has a few more days. I was out there today, and I see some improvement, and sometimes I get concerned with myself, because what I think should be done and what those people think should be done are 2 different things. Some people can look at stuff and say, it's clean enough, and I don't feel that way. So I don't know. That's why I have other people's opinions.
You got a camera on your phone?
I take pictures, yeah.
Okay. You were in that same somewhat vicinity of Mercer and Parkview Drive. Is that coming along any?
The Mercer house, yeah, they done well.
Good.
They cleaned all the tires up around back and turned the weeds and everything. They're a little bit shaky in their driveway. I guess what fascinates me about these people, they have garages, and instead of putting stuff in the garage, I mean the stuff that they have out, instead of putting things in the garage, well, one day I was there, the lady had the garage door open. Well, nothing's going in the garage because the garage is full of junk. So collectibles, yeah, I guess. But yeah, they've complied quite well. That was the place that they told me I needed to get a job. There's people out at Belmont that are selling drugs, and some of your friends are showing their genitals on the phone, and she was not very kind to Carbide. I mean,
I'd just say, just crazy idea maybe, but you take pictures, and if they don't improve it, we bring them in front of council and have a public hearing.
Exactly.
What do you people think? Invite the public and say, what do you guys think? Would you live
Exactly.
next door to this?
That works out
And
well.
make an embarrassing situation out of it.
That
Nobody
worked out.
likes that.
Yeah, that worked out well. I mean, yeah, I've got some things to present to council here coming up. I went around today or yesterday and took of all the homes in Decatur that to me are in disarray, dilapidated, or not. People are living in them, but they're just not up to standard, or what I don't think. About 9 of them, and I've taken pictures of them, and that's going to be a whole new approach, but I think it needs to be done. I've got 7 garages again that we need to, or garages and storage units, that storage deals in their yard that need to be addressed, and we're going to address them
I
too.
need
But
help with my garage. I can't put my car in it now.
I can't either because I've got a golf cart, but I moved it today. So.
I got my mom's stuff.
So anyway, I just give you a little update and tell you what I've got planned. So.
Okay, good.
You need a couch? You need a dresser or anything?
Jeremy
Hey, I talked enough that
and Dan. Well, Jeremy's coming up. We got a proposal from Miller Land Survey for the engineering for the Master Drive water line and storm sewer line engineering. It include topographic survey, civil engineering, and the engineering would include the storm sewer, the water line, and the bidding. And the water line is not a given, although, I mean, if we're going to run a new water line on Master Drive at some point in time, while they're making the cut for the storm sewer, it makes total sense to do the water line, but it's a matter of, we probably can't decide that until we get bid figures back to see exactly what this whole project would cost. This would be all of Master Drive and also Washington Street down as far as 10th Street, which we all know what Washington Street's been like on the water lines. So that alone should save us some money from not having to send crews out there all the time. Jeremy?
When Nate left, he kind of handed that project off to me. Went through his plans, kind of studied his print a little bit that he had been working on, and met with Verlin, because there was some discrepancies of what we had on file compared to what was shown on the print. So that threw up some red flags. Right.
And let me interject here to at least Craig, Tyler I think remembers probably, and Wiley may not know, but the plan that Nate had was to cut down all the trees on the east side of the street.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And then,
Tear out the sidewalk. It was major.
so anyhow, checking a couple of those inverts, we also stumbled across a few other things that we were kind of questioning. So I got with Brett Miller. Brett Miller did some initial work, just to kind of verify a few things, talk back and forth with Nate over the phone. Then we also posed a question: it's almost $100,000 to replace those sidewalks if you put the sewer under the sidewalk, plus taking down, I think, all but 6 trees on the one side, on the east side, which is going to cause some substantial amount of restoration work and so on and so forth. There is some separation concerns, or some separation questions between the sewer and the sanitary sewer and the water main. So we've addressed all of that. In lieu of replacing the sidewalks on both sides, cutting down all the trees, doing something different with the trees, we can fit this sewer in the street. Upsize the pipe to a little different style of pipe, a little bit different than what you would use. It's basically like a water main grade pipe, which satisfies everyone on the separation, because we don't have the exact.
That's because of the separation that you'd have to do that, right?
Yes, it's approximately a $70,000 savings to put it in the street, not cut the trees down, not tear all the sidewalks out, and cause pretty substantial problems or pretty substantial cost. Dan and I have also been talking about the water main, because we've had some service issues down there. We've had some leaks on the main. Obviously, Tim's have tested many times the problems that we have on Washington Street in those 3 blocks. Tim counts patches, but he's not
worse than that.
He is not taking into consideration we've been in a few of them same patches 2 and 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's about 3 times the amount of what you're really seeing. What we're proposing to do is get this out for bid. We're to that point that we're ready to get it out for bid with your approval. But also have a bid alternate in there for the water main replacement. So at a minimum, we could do the storm sewer. We're hoping to be able to do the water main also and put it in the same contract. So when the contractor's in there putting the sewer in, we're hoping that he can get the water main put in.
Can he put the water, sewer, and stormwater all in the same trench?
No.
How far those gotta be separated?
They would like to see them 10 feet.
Okay. Now, is that water
Yes.
and both? Can you put
So-
storm and sewer in the same trench?
No,
There's
you're
water-
not going to want that in the same.
I just wondered.
There is enough room
So
on the west
there's
side.
gonna be three trenches down the road?
There'll be 2 trenches down
We're
there.
not going to do the
storm.
waste.
We're not doing the sanitary. We don't want to be doing storm sewer and water.
No.
Sanitary's been done.
It's fine.
Yes. Correct. There is enough room on the west side of the street. We're lacking, to meet the standard, we're lacking about 2.5 to 3 feet. It's not substantial to having a full 10 feet separation. But to satisfy everyone, to make sure that, everyone signs off properly, we're meeting all the standards, we will upsize, or not really upsize, but you go to a thicker wall pipe.
Thicker wall pipe.
On the stormwater, which takes care of all your problems, all your questions. Merle and I and Dan have met. Bill Carpenter was in the discussion initially on, the water. Do we do the water? Do we not do the water? I'm comfortable with what's being proposed. Briefly talked with Dan. Dan doesn't really seem like he's had much objection. I would really like to see you guys approve this so we can get everything finalized. It appears that we can get it out for bid in December, which you would get some very, very competitive bids going into the winter months. The weather stays like almost 80 degrees like it was today. These people are going to be looking for work in January and February. But also at the same time, we would like to get the storm sewer in, get everything patched and settled in a little while.
Before you pave.
Pave next summer?
For the simple fact is you are dealing with an old part of the city that has some unknowns. I really hate to get everything rushed in, get the sewer in, get the curbing in, get everything else done, and then have to go dig it right back up again. Because we've smoked down there. There is some little things that we would have to address before we get all the paving done and the curbing done and stuff like that. I really think we need to put the brakes on it a little bit and get the sewer in and make sure everything's copacetic before you start really making real big strides.
My question is, Jeremy, if you're doing this in the middle of the street there, how will the people have egress and egress to their homes?
The sewer, the majority of the work will be on the west side of the street.
So they'd be able to move in. And then how are we going to fund it?
The storm, obviously, would be paid out of stormwater. There would be a split. Having the bid alternates, you would know what water is and what the water number is and what the sewer.
I think the money's rather available for the stormwater portion. Am I right, Phyllis? It's the water portion the utility portion that we're not sure about.
Correct.
Is that right, Dan?
And that's what, go ahead.
Was it, how much did you offer out of the rainy day funds, or what was it
I
out of?
think we took it, was it Riverville or Rainy Day? I'll have to look at one of those funds.
For Master
We
Drive?
paid for it. I think it was Riverville.
I think it was,
It was
no, you said it was right at 100 or something, 100 or 150. That we can put on top of there. But doing it with the alternate, Tim understands what I'm talking about here. It's a stormwater project, which stormwater number would be there with a bid alternate of all the water work, the drinking water work, just to clarify. So, we would see what the numbers are. We hope we can do that because that's going to eliminate some issues that we have down through there.
hopefully we can help Hoosier Pattern in some of those areas that are having some pressure issues at different times by doing this. But I'm hopeful of bidding it in December that you'll see some good numbers so we can just get the whole thing done.
So you think they could, do the installation of the sewer line and maybe the water line over the winter months?
Correct.
Then come back in June, July, somewhere in there and do the resurfacing?
They would actually probably patch it.
Right.
First part of May. Whenever the asphalt plates would open up, depending on,
Third week in April.
we would obviously let it settle out, let it set, and then be able to go in July, August, after we went through some rain events and made sure that everything's taken care of. We don't have any other additional flooding. We haven't created any issues anywhere.
For the most part, are the is the curbing along there okay?
It will have to be replaced. I do have
So it'd be
numbers on that,
a new
which would be a
surface street
separate-
and curbing?
Correct. I do have the numbers on the asphalt and the curbing, but that would be a separate contract that we would do outside of this, because it would be totally separate contract.
And while we're down there, what is the lighting situation? Could we use another pole or two?
I've talked with Tom Rourke a few times. Tom has talked to Roger, being that this is going into sometime into next year. Tom has been around to talk to me about the lighting situation. Tom and I feel that we've come up with the solution for the lighting.
I was thinking that budget would come to that,
Yes, you did. You did. So, I think we're ready to go on this, with the board's approval.
Well, Miller's contract for the survey is $15,000
For the engineering?
for the engineering, yeah.
He develops the bid specs.
Civil engineering plans, design phase proposal, $15,000, invoice on a monthly basis. You want to take a look at this, Tim, please?
He will cover everything, Tim. He said he would even be available for any meetings or anything, or
Pre-construction or anything like that.
which
Pre-bid.
it's probably not going to be needed unless there's an issue, but, we can handle a lot of that internally, and Brett understands that. And he's really kind of showing that in these numbers, not really in black and white, but from conversations that Brett and I have had.
What's Hoosier's problem? Just curious.
They have some pressure issues at different
Water
times during-
pressure?
Yeah.
Water, okay.
Due to failing water mains and such.
Yeah, it's not a stormwater problem.
No, it's not a stormwater issue.
And you're going to upsize the pipe to storm water.
What's that?
You're going to upsize the pipe to storm
Yes,
water.
correct. With this storm sewer, it will also be affecting to the good Master and Lewis, or
Mix
Mix
and
and
Lewis.
Lewis. Because what they're doing is basically, they're putting the pipe in a little higher, because the elevation doesn't work out because that road goes this way. So they will stub off that new storm in higher into the structure, so when that water backs up, it basically has a relief to get back into the new sewer that's being put in.
Where's that water flowing, Jeremy? Back to Washington or down to Second?
Going to
or
Washington
First?
and then going eastbound towards the
Second.
Currently, it goes under the railroad tracks and through Bunge's property.
Yeah, there's a huge tile.
Then towards the
Yeah,
river.
it's a menagerie over there.
There's a huge tile right there in Washington Street.
And also with this project, towards the end of the year, I kind of have been putting together where we're at, where we need to be scenario with streets and stuff like this. I've been working on the last several months. This will take care of four of your major streets that are deteriorating, that is top on the list, for paving and some other issues. So it's not just a stormwater project. It's not just a water main project. It's covering a whole bunch of different things.
Put the good stuff in the ground before we top it.
Some ADA issues, some other things that we're also addressing, little by little, but it will all come together at the same time.
So basically, it's the civil engineering plans, the design phase that's covered under this, because the construction phase portion is not included, So is that, would that be a separate charge, or is that something that we would do?
I think we're pretty much going to do all that. It's a pretty straightforward project. I feel comfortable with it. It's just taking a lot of the numbers. See, you had Strand, you had Nate, you had a few other individuals working, about 3 different individuals working on this whole project. So to try to take all their stuff and make heads or tails of everything, that's how we got Brett involved in it. Brett necessarily didn't start over, but to a certain point he had to, because some of the numbers were not coming out correctly. That's, the biggest reason why we got him involved in it. Outside of that, if it was just a standalone project where we could have started over, we probably wouldn't be doing this, but
It's the only thing, I know what he's saying, but he's got up here that the total lump sum stated above, and it's not
It's not
stated
above, I
above,
thought
it's
it
down
said.
here,
Yeah.
so.
Actually, this says page 2.
Right.
Okay. You guys okay with this? Want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to...
second, yeah.
Got a motion and a second to approve Jeremy to proceed with this contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thanks. Jeremy, while you're here, just give everyone up here the update on paving.
About an hour and a half ago, I received a text from Lane Asphalt. It's going to be on or before November the 16th, before they can get back in town. They have Bowman Street to go. They have the approaches at Washington Street, and I think they're going to try to do Greg Fleming's work over here all at the same time while they're over here. I think that's kind of what the delay is.
Okay. Maybe at your report tonight, mention that for Bob. Just like I said, I'm getting calls from Bowman. People coming out of Homestead and whatever. Bowman's
It's not
Been
smoother
bad.
now than what it was before. Sorry, but it is.
I went around and looked at some of the streets that they were paving. Did they come in and do some kind of grinding on a curb or something and then tie it back in? What street was that on? I gotta go check that out. But it sounded like, you pretty happy with them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They did it on Canterbury.
Out on Tim's, see,
Canterbury
the way
and
those
Yorkshire.
concrete streets are poured,
Yeah.
they're poured basically in halves, but the curb and the street's all poured together. Leica actually started it. Last couple of years that they were in business, I didn't really know what to do with those concrete streets. I didn't want to leave the gutter. So Brent came up and we looked at, what we could do there. Actually, what we do is we just tilt the mill. So you're taking about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches off that flow line, and then taking basically the crown off the road, just kind of buzzing right down the middle of the crown. Then we scratch over it with intermediate, and then put 1.5 inches over the whole top of it. That way it keeps that flow line, because you know how the water is aggressive on that flow line.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't keep it, you're not going to keep your asphalt there. It's worked out very well.
Good deal.
You still get some cracking, but not as much as what you would think. But it's worked out well. We've done Rochester Court, Berkeley Court, Canterbury, Yorkshire out there, and
It's amazing,
It does well.
the difference.
It's a lot better.
Oh, my
it
word.
really does well.
Good.
Yeah. I got a massage every time I went home in my little car. Now it's a smooth drive. It's wonderful.
Good.
That's been a good savior to a lot of those concrete streets. Jeremy, what's Street Innovative Concepts on? Manchester. It has some issues. Manchester at Yorkshire. Correct. It looks like it keeps sinking. Is that, or is that just? We had a storm sewer issue there a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Where the storm sewer was rolling the stone out from under the road.
Okay, so it is
And
kind of,
now we went out and fixed the storm sewer and basically built the road back up, but it's settling out. We actually need to go out and cut a lot of that out.
Gotcha.
Just to report.
Okay.
Okay.
Just moved down between
Hey, Les, make your way on up here. Yeah. Yeah. This is a real simple one.
You okay?
At the council meeting,
you got cold?
At the council meeting, we're going to approve the Decatur dollars for we always give Decatur dollars to the staff at the end of the year as kind of a Christmas present. Council does. And we it's council budget.
Taking out Les's budget.
We have always, as I understand, paid part-time employees this stipend. It's, I think, $30 for full-time and $20 for part-time. But we've never done volunteer firemen unless we'd like to include the volunteer firemen. And when he asked me, I said, well, how many of those volunteer firemen are already full-time employees? You know, like you got Jeremy, you got Roger. Who else?
Nathan
Nate Hirely.
Jeremy Jones.
Darryl Drake.
Darryl Drake. I'm missing one. I think I got them all. So omitting them, but
Yeah.
adding, I could amount it to 21 if you would include Tyler, or excuse me, not Tyler. I'll do that forever, Tyler. I'm sorry, Heath, because he's now a volunteer, and I think we did include Walt last year as a relief driver, so I think it amounts to 21 maybe, or thereabouts. With
I think it
20.
comes out, yeah, 21, so it's $420.
Yeah.
So, to me, I guess
It'd be a nice gesture to, I think.
This is a council decision, correct?
is it a council decision?
Well, it's, yeah,
Oh,
it'll come
okay.
out of the council funds.
Well, I knew, yeah, but I didn't know about including the volunteers. That would be as well?
Yeah, because we're expending it.
Okay. Okay.
Just so you guys know, for the council's budget, there are
So I'm gonna have to come back
promotional
up.
activities. This will probably
Practice.
take
Okay.
all of it. So,
It'll take all of it.
yeah, I mean, that's the rest
This-
for the rest
For
of
the
the
rest
year.
of this year.
And don't be going spending any money
And Tyler probably should recuse himself from voting because of,
because of Heath being
Right.
on there, yeah.
Can we, while we're on this topic of volunteer fire departments and benefits, a couple of them had approached me about, our city employees get access to the Annex Fitness Center.
Yeah, we decided that was a Park and Rec question, not...
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and Jeremy did answer me back as to who was on the list, and I would, without putting words in Jeremy's mouth, but I'm assuming that, you know, if you allow our volunteers, then you've got Monroe, then you've got, I mean, it probably was a halt. It would be nice if they could use the annex. You got 20 of them, or 25 of them. I could tell you that there probably won't be more than 5 or 6 that would take advantage of it if it was given to them. But I kind of see the answer I got from Jeremy that it probably would open up with 5 volunteer fire departments a huge can of worms. So, but they ask if I would ask, and, but it is a Parks Board issue. But they do have a policy of who the full-time.
So it's definitely a Parks Board issue.
But
It's not who we determine to be an
Yeah.
employee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Man,
because the county facility.
Yeah, that was the answer that Jeremy
Promoting
emailed
fitness
me
for
back.
volunteers, my God, that's a great idea. Who would buck that?
Well,
Like
I
Park
don't think it's
Department.
very expensive anyway to do it.
Well, I don't use it, but I mean, what a great benefit for those guys.
Well, and I mean, it would be a great benefit for all 5 departments, I mean, really, and that's probably what it would have to end up being is, because it's a county parks board, so you've got Monroe, you've got Bern, you've got Geneva.
So
you
the annex is county, it's not city.
Yeah,
Right.
and-
My pardon.
So once I seen that from the answer back from
A
Jeremy.
lot of people
kind
from Geneva drive up to work out up there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's the point.
You got it,
If-
Craig.
If we were to take a poll, you probably, out of 5 fire departments, you might have 15 total that would actually take advantage of it, but I understand.
fitness fellows
Are you?
thought the
Well,
county
I don't
put them
know
out of
how
business
council
by
is, but full-time
giving
employees
it
are.
to county employees.
I've never paying every month,
Put
so
their-
So, yeah.
You mean you've been tired of donations?
And what is the cost? I don't
Yeah.
even know.
If you pay monthly, it's like $30 a month.
For the annex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like $5 a day, but $30 a month. It's something weird. It's
yeah.
not. It's not.
I know my brother-in-law had utilized it, he had a chance to get it any time
For a while.
because his wife didn't use it, so they,
I think you're right. I think it's like $2. You can pay daily, monthly, or daily, weekly, monthly, but it ends up being $1 a day if you do monthly. So
yeah. So there probably is some fiscal impact there with the Parks Department. So, but I was asked by a few to ask, and I did.
Why don't we pass and give them these Decatur bucks and tell them to spend them at the annex?
Put the annex on
Take care of part of 1 month.
The chamber should put the annex on the back of the Decatur ballot. So,
Well, that's all I had on my agenda, and I was going to save this till the council, but since we got so much time, I'll just do it now and get it out of the way. You all know that the Cubs play game, what is it, 5 today?
6.
6 tonight?
Oh, no, you're not going to do that.
Game 5, right?
Today, I don't know who this is for sure, but this came in over the telephone,
Oh, geez.
and I decided I'd play it for you all here.
Go Cubs go, go Cubs go, hey Decatur, what do you say? Cubs are gonna win today. Go Cubbies!
I was going to do it at the council meeting, with Mr. Luca here.
That's fine.
yeah, it's delicious like that.
Did you reach Luca's little, what do you call it, editorial, or whatever you call it? That was neat this week. I was going to tell him it was a good job.
I went to the commissioners meeting today to support the Serenity House.
Yeah.
They had probably 20 or so different agencies there that support them. They went around the room and everyone had to say who you were and why you supported them. And in addition to that, 2 people from the Serenity House were there, Ian Gilbert, Judge Miller, Kelly Sickfoos, and the Corral, Bob Corral, yeah. And they all spoke. And I mean, it was so overwhelmingly positive, the presentation to the commissioners. Would anyone here like to guess what the commissioner said?
Oh, no.
Well, think about it.
Oh. Now, which house is this? The jail is going to be torn down,
The
right?
work release building.
It's the work
Right
release
behind
building.
They still don't know what to do with Ian in
Or
community
behind the
corrections.
jail?
I know.
And that was their thought, was to put Ian in there.
Yeah, but they've since not, I don't think that's an option anymore for Ian. But yeah, they basically, the one commissioner did all the talking. And
Did we ever look into, Tim, and see if that's a zoning problem? Just curious.
For them to go down there, you mean, with...
Yeah, does that have to go in front of the BTA? Or?
I didn't look at that, I can.
I mean, they have to approach it.
Well, I think
Approach it first.
I think part of their concern was, when they came across to the BZA, and it was going to be over here, there were neighbors. Okay, this would be no worse than work release.
I'm not sure that it would...
It may not even need to be...
May not have to, because...
Pushed up there because
it
it may
may fall within
fall
the
in-
scope of similar...
Exactly. I'd rather see it go that way than...
That's what they were thinking. I mean, that's the way they explained it today, is that
Yep.
in the scope of things, it would be it's already being utilized for something similar.
That's the better approach.
He
yeah.
wants to know what the county's going to get out of it.
Yeah, Doug.
Benefit the county.
Well, first Doug interrogated them all, and well, who's going to pay for this? Who's going to pay for this? And nobody said, listen, all you have to do is let them use the building. They're going to fund it all. Oh. Then he didn't know what to say.
Yesterday, Bob Corral sent out an email to try to make sure a lot of people were there, because equated with when they tried to do a transportation grant, and there wasn't a lot of community people there, they interpreted it like it wasn't a need, even though it is a great need.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it almost, seeing it from afar, it almost seems like if they don't follow the grant money stipulations, we won't have drug court. They'll pull it away.
Maybe we should adjourn.
Yeah, you want to adjourn?
Yes. As a Board of Works meeting, yeah.
That way Barb doesn't have to report all
Yeah,
this.
I was watching Barb, she was listening and talking, and yeah.
You got a motion to adjourn there, Bill?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Yeah.
I oppose the same. Thanks, we're